the translations. She'll do our Japanese to English or English to Japanese, and then from there, we'll tweak it a little bit just in terms of phrasing and stuff. But no, we really do not, use fan translations. We don't use, fan dumps of the game or anything like that, where we're extracting from the original, product. So we're very careful. We don't want to kind of inherit anything that we're assuming is correct, and maybe it's a little bit off from the original creator's intention or phrasing or anything like that. So everything we do is basically from scratch in our adaptations.
Okay, our next question comes from @ObliviousNef11, who asks, do you guys have pre-order windows for the physical editions of Clock Tower and Rose and Camellia collection from LRG yet? And I can answer this one, and the answer is yes, we definitely do, but we do not, we're not ready to share those just yet. We'll let LRG share that when they are ready, but it is not in the too distant future, so keep an eye on their social channels, and they will make those announcements as soon as they are ready. But it won't be too far off, I can promise that.
I will tease that for Clock Tower, because we're finalizing it right now behind the scenes, there's some really cool stuff for the collector's editions of that one. So for people that like getting LRG collector's editions and getting lots of cool little physical extras, that one has some really, really cool stuff. And it's also really kind of nice deep cuts within the lore and within the characters and secrets of the game.
All right, good tease there. Next question comes from @GMcDoof, who asks, is there any chance you consider porting the original Shantae and Rose and Camellia collection to PC?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll speak more for Rose and Camellia because that's what we're working on right now. This one was basically, it started as a PC Flash game and you played it with your mouse, but you were still kind of swiping. You were just swiping with your mouse. So when we reached out to them, Nagoro, the developer, to co-develop it with them, the Switch made the most sense, partially because it would be so fun to swing the remote. You're basically doing the slapping gesture, and then secondarily, you can also do the swiping on the screen, and both of those just work so perfectly on the Switch. And then also, the Switch has a really fantastic audience. They've always done great numbers for us, especially when you have experimental games and motion control games and stuff like that. So that's where we started on this one, but it's by no means a permanent exclusive. In the future, I would love to see if we could adapt, both of those games and any of our games to as many platforms as possible.
And along those same lines, our next question is from @FakuTV, who asks, when Cat Girl Without Salad for Steam or Epic?
That's a good question. We still love Kabako and her adventures. I still want to see us do the full game that we teased. For anybody who's played it, the reason why the existing release is called Amuse-Bouche is that is essentially like a freebie appetizer you get at fancy restaurants. It is not the entree. And so, myself and James Montagna, my co-director on the game, we have a version planned where it is the full game. It is 8 or 9 bosses. It continues the story from the first 3 bosses of the existing release. So yeah, we definitely want to do more with it. We are always bringing her back for playing around on social media, and I know Christina loves voicing her. She's one of the most fun characters in the game. So hopefully we can do more. And then remind me, how what was the question specifically about?
When will Cat Girl Without Salad be on Steam or Epic?
That's a good question. So I think that we can make that happen. We obviously have the PC version. It started as a humble original, but I think that WayForward does control that. So this is a good reminder. I will look into that. That might be low-hanging fruit. That might be something that we can make happen in the near future.
And if you do want to play it on PC, it is available on itch.io. It is available right now. And in fact, it is 57% off. So you can get it for like less than $3.50 right now on PC. Also on sale on Switch. So that's cheaper than a large beverage or something. So if you've been waiting to play it, there's no reason to keep waiting. I think that's probably the cheapest sale we've had on it ever. So go out and get it to celebrate April Fool's Day. Next question comes from @director_Julius, who asks, is it accurate to say that Shantae is the mascot of Way Forward?
I don't know. What do you think, Hoff? I mean, basically, what do you think?
I mean, I think that's probably fair to say. I mean, it's a little weird because a lot of people don't know this, but technically, the character is owned by Matt, not by Way Forward. But still, I think it is fair to say that.
Yeah, I think she's the one that people most identify with us. Our most popular series right now are probably #1 Shantae, #2 River City Girls. But we have a roster. We try to get back to them as often as possible. I created the Lit game, so I love our little emo characters, Jake and Rachel. I know that a lot of people love Patricia Wagon from the Mighty Switch Force games. And actually, both of them, Jake and Patty, we were lucky enough to add into River City Girls 2 as cameos, and also Kabako from Catgirl Without Salad. So yeah, we've got a lot of characters that I think are kind of all our little family. But yeah, I would say none of them. We don't quite have a Mickey Mouse. We don't quite have one character that we'll put on everything. And whenever Way Forward does have an opportunity to kind of put some imagery out or a brand, we tend to kind of cycle between all of it. Even I think for what was last Halloween, we kind of played with Clock Tower in some of our social media. So we really like to play with everything we have access to. But I would say informally, she's probably thought of as our mascot, and that's probably kind of how we see it as well.
I think that is fair. We have another question here from @SeanMattW, who asks, is a 3D Shantae game something the team at Way Forward has experimented with?
We are always looking into pretty much any possibility you can imagine for any of our brands. So yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have anything that we're announcing as of this moment, but the possibility of, I would say, more 3D Shantae, because if you look at, for example, Half Genie Hero, the environments were all 3D, and it was just the characters that were 2D animation. So we do a lot of that kind of hybrid stuff as well. So but yeah, I mean, the possibility of continuing that, whether we do 2D high resolution, whether we do pixel, whether we do 3D, whether we do a hybrid of all those, we're always exploring all the possibilities.
Our next question comes from @TheFirstFear, who, well, they have two questions. Is there any idea when we can expect a release date for the game? I assume that's referring to Clock Tower Rewind, as well as what the name of the Mary Elizabeth McGlynn theme song is.
And sorry, can you, it cut out again. Can you repeat the question one more time, Hoff?
Is there any, can you give us an idea of when we can expect a release date for Clock Tower Rewind?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're, Hoff and I are, we're circling in on, we're doing all the materials now. We're coordinating with LRG on everything. Yeah, I don't know.
Sometime in the next few months, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Imminent. It's coming in soon. And I saw that question. Give me one moment. If you want to move on to the next one, I'll look up old emails and find exactly what that title was. We just call it the Clock Tower theme, but it probably does have a specific title. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. I'll move on to our next question here, which comes from @Showmini_95, who asks, let's go. Okay, question. I liked Contra Operation Galuga's story mode, so I wonder, are there more stories that could be told about or after Operation Galuga? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely, definitely, 100%. We would love to do more Contra. It all depends on how this game does, so we hope that people enjoy it, and they play it, and they tell all their friends about it. And if it performs up to Konami's expectations, they will let us tell those stories, because Konami and us and the folks at Story Writers already have plans for where the story can go from here. It's just a matter of if we get the opportunity to tell them. hopefully we will, because we would love to do that. We would love to do more content.
So as far as the title, we informally just call it Clock Tower Theme. But the original suggestion of the lyricist was Sharp Laughter. So you can take both of those answers. It can either be Clock Tower Theme or it can be Sharp Laughter.
Alrighty. Next question comes from at Martin194, I think is how you pronounce that. Will you do pop-up parade with Good Smile US of Way Forward series such as Mighty Switch Force, Shantae, River City Girls, or Spider Swords?
I'm not. I know Good Smile. I'm not familiar with Pop-Up Parade. Do you know what that is, Hoff?
I think those are fairly static figurines, if I'm not mistaken. I think I might have a couple of those. I think I might have some for Ace Attorney or something like that. I have too much stuff, as you might be able to tell. But I think the answer is we'd love the opportunity to work with Good Smile and try to get the collectibles out there in any way we can, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in conversations with Good Smile since I hopped into the publishing side. We've talked about possibilities. We ended up not doing actual Figma characters, but if you look at the designs of the River City Girls figures from the LRG editions, they're very Figma influenced. But yeah, Good Smile is a we're huge fans of their products, and we're looking for ways that we can collaborate with them.
We have a question here from at Carnival, who asks, any chance of Shantae Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance coming to Xbox?
Game Boy Color, Game Boy. I think what have we announced as far as the Risky Revolution, Hoff?
So far, we have no plans for those to come to Xbox, but there is definitely a chance. It could certainly happen. I know I would personally love to see it happen. I know Jeremy would love to see it happen.
Yeah, we've had internal discussions about trying to make it happen at certain points. It's just right now it has not been.
Yeah, and as far as the first one, yeah, definitely. I know we are always looking to round out our platforms on all of our available titles. I know we've had lots of conversations. There's lots of behind-the-scenes stuff right now between WayForward, Carbon, LRG in terms of can we get stuff out on Xbox that hasn't been out digitally? Can we get stuff out physically that has only been available digitally? So we are trying to feed that audience. We're trying to get as much WayForward Xbox-related releases out as possible. So stay patient. We're trying.
Okay, our next question is from at Lucky Side, who asks, jumped in a bit late, might be missing some context, but with WayForward being known for the adorable art style of Shantae, will it be used on the Clock Tower game, and would you have to make any drastic changes to make the art style fit the story?
So with the game, we're not changing the visuals at all. So it really is just the traditional pixel art and kind of like manipulated photos and artistry of the original one. However, we are kind of doing a more way-forward-y style in some of the dressing materials. So everybody, I think, who watched the initial LRG announcement or has looked up articles since then, you've seen Mariel, the creative lead on it. You've seen her take on Jennifer, which is very anime flavored in kind of her character design. It's very similar style for the animated intro, which we haven't revealed yet, but is really just beautiful. I mean, and Mariel directed that, and I can't wait for you guys to see that. That'll be attached to some of the upcoming promotional materials. So a lot of the stuff around it is in kind of that way forward, more modern, more kind of clean anime style, but not within the game. Within the game, we're keeping everything exactly as it was back in the original release.
That's right. It is a port. It is not a remaster. It is not a remake. We are staying as true to the original as possible. We have a question here from at It's Tempest Steve, who asks, on the subject of physicals, will there ever be the likelihood of a River City Girls 1 physical for Xbox?
Yeah, definitely. We are very interested in, like I said, getting the Xbox physicals that we missed out if we can. We're having lots of conversations along those lines with Limited Run right now. So in the meantime, we're happy that games like our River City 1 do have a digital release, but we are trying to button up any of those missing physical releases on the major platforms as quickly as possible as well.
Yeah, I'd say the chances are good. It is something we would definitely like to see happen. Next question comes from @AlexJorgen40179, who asks, will there be a Mighty Switch Force 3?
Yeah, it's actually something we talk about quite a bit. And, the thing that was cool about Mighty Switch Force is it really is one of those kind of classic, way forward puzzler games. We started them with Mighty Flip Champs and Lit and Mighty Switch Force 1 and 2 and Mighty Milky Way, and those very kind of puzzly little action platformer games where they kind of are built around one cool hook, one cool gameplay feature that nobody's ever really played before. A lot of what we do in addition to developing games is we do prototypes along those lines. And so we've done some really interesting gameplay hook prototypes that nobody's seen, that are still kind of like hidden within Way Forward. Sometimes those turn into full releases. That's kind of how Vitamin Connection happened, is it was just this very cool, weird little demo we did, and then we ended up doing a full game based on it. So we're always talking about doing more of those games. We want to get back to those. We have not done one in a while, and we have not done a Mighty Switch Force in a while, but it's something that I'm hoping can happen. We can get going in the next year or so, and specifically, we really want to get back to a third game with Patricia and follow her adventures and maybe find out what her next job is.
Yep, I would definitely like to see it. Okay, we are coming up here on an hour, or I think it has been an hour, so this will be the last question for today. And it comes from @ThePirateToxic, who asks, how soon will we be able to know the official release date of Shantae Advance Risky Revolution? And I'm not sure there's actually a question that we can answer, because
No.
As far as the GBA cartridge goes, it has this pre-order window, and it will close on the 7th, and then it will go into manufacture, and it will come out when it is done. It'll probably just roll out one day, like, hey, it is here, hurrah! It showed up in your mailbox, just like Christmas. As far as the modern console version, that's something we're still figuring out. It'll be several months before we're able to lock that down. So not anytime soon, probably several months for that.
Yeah, I will say we have internal strategies for that release and the timing of that between Way Forward and Limited Run. Once this version is done with its pre-sale, we'll begin moving on to the other versions in terms of promotion, interviews, previews, stuff like that. So expect more specific info on the console versions after the GBA version is done with its pre-sale. But again, I have to remind you guys, this is the one shot. There is no GBA digital release. There is no follow-up re-release. If you want to get the actual GBA, play it on your GBA, play it on your analog pocket, play it on your retro handheld version of Shantae Risky Revolution, now is the time. You gotta get over to LRG and get that before the pre-sale ends.
Yep, indeed. So that's pretty much all we have time for today. But just to give a quick recap, like Adam just mentioned, Shantae Advance Risky Revolution Game Boy Advance pre-orders are up for just a little bit while longer, until April 7th, so don't miss out on that. Contra Operation Galuga physical pre-orders on Switch, PS4, PS5, and Xbox are available until April 14th. Both of those are up at limitedrungames.com. Very soon, we will have an official release date for Rose and Camellia Collection, the Slap battle game coming exclusively to Switch, which will then be followed by the game's actual launch. And then a bit further down the road, we have Clock Tower Rewind on the way, bringing that lost classic officially to the West for the first time. please look forward to that as well. And then, as we alluded to, we do have more River City Girls happening. Adam admitted that there are going to be some more playable characters to look forward to, so please stay tuned. We'll have more news on that soon. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Thanks for everyone who asked questions. Thanks to Adam and Jeremy for taking time out of their schedules to join me. Anything else you guys want to say?
The only thing that occurred to me, so yeah, definitely go grab Contra while it's out. Get those awesome G.I. Joe style action figures. Grab Risky Revolution on GBA if you've got a retro system. It's so fun to play. I mean, I was watching during GDC. Matt was playing it, and I was watching it, and it's so beautiful on that small screen. There's just such a charm to that. But the other thing I wanted to mention, if people weren't aware, is that River City Girls 1 has a mobile version, and it's through our friends at Crunchyroll, through their Game Vault. So if you are a higher tier Crunchyroll subscriber, you can play that game for free right now on your mobile. And if you've got a Bluetooth controller or a Backbone style controller, it plays great. It plays exactly like on the consoles. And then if you don't, we did a lot of effort to get it playable very satisfyingly with the touch control. But that's a really cool version of the game that you can also experience right now. And we added the mascot, Hime-chan, as a shopkeeper. So whenever we have new versions of the game, even if it's a port like that, we like to look for little opportunities to make each version special. So that's another one. River City Girls Mobile is available right now through Crunchyroll's Game Vault.
Okay, good point. Okay then, thanks again. We will catch you all next time.